coming in off a 3-game unbeaten streak, win over Newcastle last time out. How much confidence do you take from the win a week ago?
Look, I probably had more confidence coming out of the Sydney game in terms of where we're at. I think Newcastle was definitely a game of two halves. I was disappointed with the second half performance because I felt as though they were there for the taking. They committed more numbers forward and we just couldn't knock them out. But again, I think if we don't concede that goal off the corner, which I think was a foul, I don't think they were going to create any big chances. We kind of played more the scoreboard than we did the game, and that was a disappointing part, but very happy that we picked up 3 points. I think they merited it. The result, I think even against Wanderers, I think we deserve to win as well. So, I'm happy with the progress.
In your analysis of the second half, what's come out of that in terms of not being able to land that knockout blow?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think definitely the goal was the momentum shifter. I think, yes, we were a little bit, we were regressing back, I think as well, making some of the changes. I wasn't getting the impact that I felt that we merited. So it was a combination of those two things. And then, when you haven't won for a while, confidence is, not where it's supposed to be. And sometimes you forget how to close out games. But to be fair, I thought the boys, there was one passage of play where they blocked about maybe, I think 6-7 shots, and we had all our numbers in the box, and we defended quite stoutly and away from home as well against a team that, it's been very good, the last 2-3 months. So again, it was positive.
What did you make of the performance of Kazu in an advanced role? An assist, a flick-on header, and a nice finish for his goal?
Yeah, I thought he was great. I think he's actually bringing us into the game quite nicely now as a first point of contact, taking a little bit of pressure off Costa to be the first player engaged on a counter or any transition phase. It's just more about building, that chemistry with the players around him. But I thought he's done a great job for us all season. I've played him as a 6, 8, as a 10. I've played him as a false 9. So he's been steadily going well.
So Melbourne victory, in your time as head coach, you've had some battles with them and they've always been close. Is that what you're expecting tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it'd be no different to the game we played at Amy Park. I think, as much as we didn't create in that game, I thought that was a really even game up until they had scored, and it was something that we could have prevented. The victory built on quick transitions with some really, really good players, and that's something that we need to be aware of tomorrow. But again, we have a nice rivalry, and it'll be no different tomorrow. I think the boys are up for it. I think Husey mentioned yesterday, boys don't want to go to Darwin, for the Australia Cup playoff, and I think that's a good incentive. And I think also the back of the mind of a lot of those Kiwi boys is that they want to impress the national team coach, in order to make a case to go to the World Cup. So motivation's there.
Yeah, last time they were here was a pretty iconic kind of occasion for the club, the semi-final last year. Does it bring back memories for you? I know the result didn't go your way, but the Zavada goal. Do you think back to that game when they're in town?
No, I often don't reflect back on what's happened. That's something that I'll do when I'm, no longer here and I have a lot of time on my hands. Look, they were great moments for the club, something that, I want to replicate again. I thought victory under Popper last year were a really hard team to play. I actually look forward to playing these games, especially when there's, so much, not much between the teams. I enjoy those coaching battles, and it's nice to be part of, and it was nice to create a history for Wellington fans to come out and see that. It's just a shame we just couldn't go to that last step.
What have you seen from victory under Arthur Dillis?
I think they're a little bit more fluid at the front. There's a little bit less structure towards their attacking players, which makes them more dangerous. Probably put them in the same boat as like West United with unpredictability, and Wanderers as well. Almost the same system now. They'll be tough to play. Again, it's not hard. It's not easy taking over. Mid-season and trying to implement a style at the same time. Very difficult. He's done well so far. And
squad update. Any fresh injuries? I saw the ins and outs yesterday, which indicated no.
Yeah, no. So everyone, I think there's no injuries, which is a big surprise. Usually we have 1 or 2 players in every week. No, so everyone's okay. Riffa, off feet a little bit just to manage his knee, but I think we'll be very close to the same squad and same team.
And now that you've built a bit of momentum in the last 3 games, how keen are you to finish the season nice and strongly?
Look, the intention's always there, regardless of whether we're winning or losing. I always want to win every game, perform well. For me, again, I mentioned last week the performance was probably not in the second half where I wanted to be. I was happy with the outcome, but I want to build this week on what we did against Wanderers and against Sydney. I want it to be 70, 80 minutes of just consistent football and something that people enjoy to watch. And that's from now to the last game of the season.
You touched on Tuesday's comments. Has it been something that's been spoken about with the team that want to get out of that bottom 4 so you're not going to Dale?
I actually don't have to speak about it. I think that's chatter amongst the boys. I think once the seasons end in May, I think they need, a lot of those boys need a hard-earned break, especially the older senior boys that have been going since, well, they haven't really stopped since Nations Cup. So they need a break. I think everyone needs a break and then reset and restart for next season.